Welcome everybody to Bronx Sports Jedi Network here for weekly MMA breakdowns with me, Austin, and Chef Dan. How you doing tonight, Chef Dan?
Salute to you, Austin. Salute to everyone joining us tonight. I hope everyone's doing well. I'm doing well myself. We had a lot of fights. We had some controversial endings, and with the controversial endings comes some controversial takes. So that's going to be happening tonight. But yeah, how you doing yourself, Austin?
Good. Just thirsty. So you see me drinking. If you see me drinking a lot of this during the show, I'm very thirsty. So yeah, but yeah. Anyway, definitely doing well. Other than that, so yeah, let's get started. Shout out to Dan. Salute to the chat. Salute to you, Dan.
Oh no, that was me. That was me. I just wanted to say
Oh,
salute to the chat. Yeah.
I'm sorry. My bad. I thought it was someone else. Anyway, so let's get started. So you mentioned controversial. Let's just talk about it. The controversial fight of the weekend, both MMA, I mean, in all of MMA, Bellator and UFC. Which is Douglas Lima MVP, which MVP won via split decision, 29-28. Two judges scorecards. Douglas Lima won in one judge's scorecard, 29-28. And this was a very interesting fight because a lot of people didn't agree with this decision at all. It's more like I want to say like 70, in my opinion, 70-30 people think Lima won, or 30% think Page won. Just how I see it on the MMA community. I could be wrong, but yeah, I mean a lot of people thought Lima won, and some people think this was a hometown decision or home country decision rather. But you get what I mean. Since Van Page is from England and this was in London. So, Chef Dan, what did you think of the fight, and do you think this was hometown favor?
Um, I wish I could boil it down to just that, but this is something I'd like to ask not only our viewers, but I'd like to ask you as well, Austin. Which would you consider? Which do you? All right, maybe this is two separate questions I'd like to ask.
Okay.
All right, the first question is to you personally. Which do you consider would get more points on your scorecard if you're judging a fight? Someone who is striking and gets a takedown, or someone who ends up getting some ground control via a shoot or some clinching on the cage and having some ability to do some ground and pound and a little bit of damage here and there. Which to you is more effective?
The one that does the most damage. It's the one that does the most damage to me because I mean the guy made ground pound throw some punches. I mean, yeah, take him down to ground pound, but doesn't mean he's doing more damage versus the guy who's striking, wobbling him, then went for a takedown. It's kind of tricky. I mean, I don't want. I mean, I'm sorry to not give you a full answer, but it depends who did the damage. Like putting in more shots. If that makes sense. I don't know if I'm making sense or
Okay, so then let me ask you the second question. Is based on the way you've seen judges score a fight so far, which do you feel they value more? The first or the second?
I would say based on this fight, I think the
No,
first.
I
Oh,
wouldn't. Not the first. Don't do it based on this fight. I
oh,
want you to do it in totality, based on how most judges have scored the fights to you.
I think it's tough because it's different commissions have different rules because you have the like Nevada has the new rules where damage is more taken accounts and more set precedents versus like I think here in Florida where I live it's all like the old rules. I could be wrong. Some places haven't totally adopted it, but if I had to guess, generally maybe the ground control. Guys getting ground control and dominating.
Because it seemed, I know what you were gonna say. It seemed like for this fight, they value the first as a form to the latter, which
Right.
is getting knockdowns repeatedly, because that was the difference in this fight. MVP consistently. If you watched it, people may not have liked it, but his accuracy on where he was able to get his strikes to the point where Douglas Lima dropped to the floor multiple times. You can get the first time it's a flash knockdown, but after an opponent is able to do that multiple times, he's accurate. He's accurate and he's landing it in spots that are landing damage. And so it was a close fight in its totality, but the majority of the judges saw it in MVP's favor, and I had to agree with that.
Yeah, because I can see why people thought yeah, because it seemed like to me that second round particularly is the it seems like to me that's the questionable round. I think because everyone agrees third round was definitely Lima. Lima won that because there was low action. Lima got the takedown, ground control. MVP had the two knockdowns in the first round, despite Lima getting takedown. So I mean that's to me it was like obviously MVP's round. It was really round two that was the questionable round. And to me, I thought personally that when I saw because I didn't watch this fight live, I watched it like afterwards, after I found out who won, and it's like to me when I saw MVP on that knockdown in the second round, that's what I could see. Oh, that's where he won the round. I could see it because there wasn't a lot of action in this fight. It wasn't like an action-packed fight at all. It was very But
It was very methodical and slow paced. Like you said, I agree with you 100%. Like it was just me agreeing with you. Sorry for cutting you off, but
no,
I agree with you 100% in the fact that it was slow and methodical. It wasn't much action. But when there was action, you saw it in the first two rounds. Like MVP brought the action the first two rounds. So when you look at it from that perspective, Douglas Lima should have entered the third round knowing that he was down two rounds essentially. You come in that third round trying to get the finish. You have to convince everyone. And so you won the round, but you had to finish the fight.
right. Right, but right. I mean, maybe his corner thought he won the second round, I mean, or even the first round because remember one judge gave him round one and round three, if I remember correctly. Hang on, let me pull. I saw the judge's scorecard. Like they on, I think they gave. I don't know why I'm frozen like that. Hang on, shoot, I can't. I believe one judge gave Lima round one and round three. I think maybe they thought he won a round or maybe round two. His coaches, maybe that's why he didn't. I mean, yeah, I agree. Yeah, like I think maybe it should have been more. You should have been more willing to engage with MVP because even though MVP is accurate and a good striker and can drop guys, but Lima is no slouch striking either. He's a very good striker himself, and plus the wrestling did help. I mean, MVP is known. If you can take, he's not exactly the greatest wrestling defense. I mean, Paul Daly took him down in their fight 2.5 years ago. I think more than once. I mean, Paul Daly's not known for takedowns. Not a wrestler can take you down. I mean, Lima, who's probably maybe stronger than even Daly, could probably use him more. But but hey, I mean, I guess he didn't take action. And but I was gonna mention there was a moment in this fight in the second round where we almost had the repeat at the end of the first round, not the first round, the first fight, where MVP lunges in, he goes for he drops he leg kicks him, MVP falls down, and MVP's getting up, and Lima almost did the uppercut. I call the Shoryuken Ryu from Street Fighter. He almost
Hmm.
landed again. I mean, can you imagine he did that again? That'd be nuts. Like, same knock on everything.
Yeah, but like I said, man, it just felt like to your point, he just did enough. And I asked the question last week if that knockout was gonna be in his mind to the point where he felt like he just had to avoid that one moment, and he fought a pretty clean fight for the most part.
Yeah, he did. He did that. And give him credit. He did what he had to do to win. He knocked him down a couple, like at least 3 times. I recall. And I think there was a point in the third round where like Lima knocked him down, but it was more of him just ducking Lima's like like left hand that or right hand that had a lot of power behind it. That he was trying, was going for a knockout punch. Yeah, he did enough to win. And, I can see why they give it MVP. Although I can see, people, I understand people's cases for Lima as well. Excuse me, my apologies as well. So yeah, it's a very controversial fight. People be talking about for a while, and people wanted this to be 5 rounds. And because this fight and the Romero Davis fight from like a few weeks ago, they wanted that to be 5 rounds, and Bellator's listened. So now Bellator, starting January 1st, all their main events are 5 rounds. So the main events of shows, championship fights, and tournament fights will all be 5 rounds. So the fans got what they want.
Most definitely, and that's going to be very interesting to see how the athletes correspond to that, and will their gas tanks be able to essentially go to that distance? If it's like it was being described to me, I believe all the fights on the main card will be 5 rounds.
No, just main
So
events.
just main events. All right.
Yeah.
So if it's just main events, that would be perfect. Then those athletes that we're getting more bang for our buck with that rule change being added.
Yeah, and yeah, definitely. And MVP is probably gonna fight Mansaroff for the welterweight title. I would think he's next. Who knows when that happens? And yeah, we might get more. You're right. We're getting more buck for our money, or bang for our buck. Excuse me. Don't want to butcher the phrase. For this, is all the main events are 5 rounds. It's interesting to see. How these fighters adjust to it. I mean, maybe some guys from the UFC they're used to it, like, or Gegard Mousasi or Sergio Pettis or Romero or even Ryan Bader and Corey Anderson. They're used to it. I think these Bellator fights would adjust because they're high level athletes. They train. They plus a lot of them train with UFC guys anyway. So they probably will adjust to it. But it's interesting to see, and it's kind of cool because I think them and the UFC the only two promotions I think that do main events and all with main 5 rounds now for main events that are non championship fights because I don't know if ONE FC does it. I don't know if PFL does it. I mean, I could be wrong. If I'm wrong, let me know. I mean, Dan, do you know that or
I haven't really paid attention to those promotions like that. Watching a whole lot of sports, diving into a whole lot of sports, along with having work and other things. It kind of takes away time, but when I get the chance, I'll look into that.
right? Right. I'm just curious because I don't think those approaches do. I know in Japan, Ryzen, back in the day, Pride, they always did the 30-minute round. They always did 30-minute fights or two 10-minute rounds, one 5-minute round. So that's a little different. Yeah, and salute to Nick Buzz. Salute to you as well.
Salute to you, CT. How you doing? I hope everything's going well with you. Hope the family's doing well. Hope work is doing well, and hope may the Knicks be with you, man. Hope everything is doing well with you.
Yeah, same here, definitely. Hope everything's doing all right with you. And yeah, and Douglas Lima, he's lost 3 in a row now. Although all of them are two high level guys. I mean, Amsarov, Gagar, and this is controversial. You remember he won this fight. To me, he was a little bit gun shy. He wasn't exactly Lima of old. Well, I shouldn't say of old, but he used to be. However, I do think he's still a top guy in this division. He's still gonna be a player. I mean, he has moments in his fights. So I mean, I know he's 32 with 40 plus fights, but still, I don't think he's done. I mean, I think he's still an elite welterweight who could still possibly go out there and fight for the world title again.
Most definitely, I feel like the way Lima's career path currently is set up right now, what he's gonna have to do is he's in that position right now where he may be fed someone young who the company feels is that next guy, and so he's the litmus test. And you get into an interesting position at that point where either you want to shy away from it, or you could truly embrace it and become that gatekeeper, and you just bide your time, because if you are the gatekeeper, you're still facing viable competition, and that always keeps you right there in contention for the title. So as long as you're right there with those top names and you embrace that role of being the gatekeeper for the moment, it'll look good for him.
Yeah, exactly. If you keep being these up and coming guys, eventually you're gonna have to get the next title shot. You're gonna face someone in the same, as above you or same area. You beat him. I mean, Glover Teixeira was technically a gatekeeper for a while, and he won, a bunch. He's won, 5 or 6 in a row. And now he's fighting Dan in a month, Jan Blachowicz for the world light heavyweight title. But yeah, I can definitely see that. So yeah, Lima. Yeah, to me, Lima still got it. MVP's probably fighting Amsarov next for the welterweight world title. And yeah, we'll end it there. A recap for that fight. Before we move on, I just want to say, read this comment came for Gone and Francis. Gone and Francis. That's right. I worked with her for January. Zero Gone versus Francis Ngannou for the UFC heavyweight title.
Yeah, I believe they're working for January 22nd or
Yeah,
23rd, maybe one of those days. But yeah, if that's finalized, that's going to be fireworks. And just as CT said it, that's a perfect segue to go right into the UFC. The UFC also hosted an event over the weekend, uh, Johnny Walker versus Thiago Santos. Um, a lot of people had their own takes about the fight. I'm gonna save mine after you go, Austin. I'm gonna let you dig into this one first. You let me know what you thought of this fight.
I mean, I thought Thiago won the fight. That was the right call. It was. I guess had to go to the point it was boring. I'm just gonna be real. It wasn't dick sign fights. It was really I don't. It kind of. It didn't deliver. I'm just gonna be honest. Yeah, they both respect. Yeah, they both got power. Yes, they respect each other. And Johnny Walker was a little bit more patient, but but it just felt like at times it felt like they were. It was almost like a. I don't want to say a glorified sparring session, but at times it seemed like it. Not the whole fight, but parts of it did. And these guys, Thiago did enough to win, in my opinion. I'm not going to disagree with the judges' scorecard personally. I'm just not. But yeah, it wasn't. I didn't enjoy it. I mean, it was there. I mean, it was all right. But yeah, I mean, yeah, I get. You both have you can knock each other out, but at the same time, you do got, you do got somewhat take a risk. Obviously, a calculated risk, but not like, but still. But yeah, not biggest fan of this fight.
I was watching this fight with the Bronx Jedi because we were both very interested in the co-main event and the main event. And so, we're going to speak about the co-main event after this fight, but this main event, we were really, on our heels waiting, excited. We're like, yes, 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 here it comes, the fireworks. Because on paper, this looks to be a very exciting matchup. If you have Thiago healthy, moving, fluid, back to doing the leg kicks and back to confidently moving around because he has that spryness back in his steps, and you have Johnny Walker who's always going to be one move away from ending it all because he's that athletic and he's that powerful and he just looks perfect for the division for that size. On paper, it looked good. In action, this was completely boring. I know you want to say this was so technical that it was so boring. It wasn't. It really wasn't so technical that it was so boring. And it wasn't to say that these guys had a lack of technique. They didn't have a lack of technique. It almost seemed like they had, like, watching the fight, it seemed like these guys had so much technique and they knew about each other's technique and there was so much respect between one another. Exactly like you said, it felt like a sparring match. These guys had so much respect for each other, it felt like two friends going at it. And when you have two friends that really have no animosity going at it, the fight wasn't what it was supposed to be. And I both of these fighters, they're too good for this fight. For me, some guy over in Brooklyn, New York, who hasn't ever stepped in the ring, for me to be telling them that you guys weren't supposed to be giving this fight that you were, but it was a bad fight. I mean, Thiago Santos definitely won the fight due to more activity, a lot more leg kicks here and there. He did take more calculated risks, but he didn't take any gambles. He didn't put himself in a situation to where he could have gotten knocked out, and neither did Johnny Walker, because both of these guys, it felt like they knew each other's power, and so it was like, hey, I'm just not even going to put myself in a position to where this guy can get it. And by the time it got to the fourth or fifth round, it seemed like everyone in the building knew that was what was going on. Salute to you, Robert Parr, man. I just saw you in the chat pop up, man. Salute. I see you always supporting the Bronx Sports Jedi Network, man. Salute to you. Hope your family is doing well, man. But yeah, I know we love to put you on to the game. We love to tell you when the exciting fights are going on. This fight, I'm gonna keep it real with you, man. It was not exciting. Johnny, Johnny Walker has
I saw.
that was the only levity you could. You're the only levity that was provided during that fight because it was not exciting. I don't know what else to say. No fireworks. And truth be told, this fight, the most it does for each of these guys is it lets Thiago hold on to his ranking which truthfully we've realized throughout the years, ranking doesn't matter as long as you're available
Right.
to a certain extent. And for Johnny Walker, it helps him realize that he can go 5 rounds as a light heavyweight contender. But can you really go 5 rounds as a light heavyweight contender?
Yeah, because it wasn't like you were pushed. It wasn't like you had or you did activity. I mean, it was just
No,
stalemate.
I mean,
I mean, go ahead.
no, go ahead. Like, because I agree with you completely.
Yeah, like you didn't activity. You weren't pushed. You just were just you just were there. You had your moments. The few times they landed shots, you could tell there was impact a few times, but it wasn't like it was barely any. It's just yeah, that was the thing. It was barely anything they landed. The few times they did, you can tell. Okay, they can hurt each other. Okay, they have power, both of them still. Well, I shouldn't say still, but still, but still they have power. They're showing it. They're just not engaging. So
Exactly. It like I don't know. Maybe we can with this fight we can kind of
just move, yeah.
move on. But the last thing I just want to say is you guys got to ask yourself this question. I mean Johnny Walker would have to ask himself this question. Really is if that was because let's eliminate Glover Teixeira and Jan Blachowicz out of the picture right now because those two are matched up. And let's eliminate Thiago Santos out of the picture right now. One of the biggest names in your division right now is Yuri Prochaska.
Yeah.
If that's Yuri Prochaska across the octagon from you, do you survive 5 rounds with him putting that constant pressure on you?
Or
And
Anthony Smith.
Anthony Smith, are you able to do that? I mean, it's one of these things that are you just have to ask yourself this question. Robert Parr, I see you asking some questions in the chat right now. Let's highlight it. You were mentioning that I was mentioning that someone had their title vacated. What happened with that situation? It wasn't currently that a title was vacated. It was that I believe we're talking about Aljamain Sterling. He is currently not going to be able to defend his title against Peter Yan because of an injury that the UFC doctors deemed that he will. They deem that they're uncomfortable with letting him compete against Peter Yan. They feel like he'll be hampered with that. So Currently, Peter Yan and Corey Sandhagen are currently going to fight for the interim title, and the winner of that fight will fight Aljamain Sterling once he's healed up. So that situation is going on. Other than that, everyone has a title right now, and but like I've said before, not the most skilled guy has the title, so everyone has a claim to fame as to why they want their title. Yeah, and safety first, but it gives us an exciting fight
Yeah, it does.
it gives us an exciting fight between Peter Yan and Corey Sandhagen, which me and Austin are going to break down later on at some point. That's really I can't wait to break that down because
Yep.
Corey Sandhagen, I love him. He's a great fighter.
He is. Yep, it definitely is. And like I said, later on the month we go up that pay per view, we'll definitely break it down. That'll be exciting pay per
Most
view.
definitely.
Yes, and yeah. So let's go back to the Carter, from last week. And I think this weapons co-main event is what everyone was talking about the most, which was the Kevin Holland versus Cal Dawkins fight. This ended in the first round via by no decision via accidental headbutts. However, though, before that happened, Kevin Holland and Cal Dawkins collided heads. Kevin Holland was going for a left hook, or left cross, like lunge, went to the punch, carry him, and Dawkins was ducking it, but he moved up like this, and their heads collide, and like the impact knocked Kevin Holland out. Like his eyes rolled back, and he looked like he was, excuse me, out for a minute, and then but Dawkins was going for submissions. Eventually, got a rear naked choke and made him tap. Dan Marriott didn't see that he was knocked out, or got eyes rolled back. And then what happened was it was supposed. I guess Dan was going to originally rule a submission victory for Kyle Dawkins, but then Herb Dean, Mark Radner, who works for the UFC, was the former Nevada Athletic Commission at Nevada State Athletic Commissioner, and the commission basically were looking at the replay of the monitors, and I guess Dan Moriarty had a decision and he changed his mind. Yeah, which is something. This is something I really haven't seen before in MMA, where a fight ends and they actually look at the replay and the referee basically gets the right call or changes his mind. Have you ever seen something like this? And what are your thoughts of this fight?
No, I've never seen anything like this before, but I do wanna clarify some things. Um,
Okay.
Dan Mergliotta didn't, it wasn't that he was gonna rule it uh, uh, a submission victory. He did want to step in the moment that Kevin Holland got knocked out because we all saw the replay multiple times, and Kevin Holland's whole body went limp for a minute. It was just that after he went down and Kyle Dawkins hesitated and then started to try and do a ground and pound on Kevin Holland. Kevin Holland got up and started to sprawl a little to try and defend against some of the shots. So Dan Mergliotta, being the referee that he was, he let it continue until the fight stopped itself. But then he decided to have a conference with Herb Dean and with the commission, and I believe Scott Coker, I believe was
Uh,
there.
no, that's Scott Coker. That's the Bellator promoter. I think you're thinking
I
of,
said my fault.
I think you're talking about the Mark Radner. You're talking about?
Yes, yes. I believe he was there. We just got off Bellator. I
Yeah.
apologize, ladies and gentlemen. But
Okay.
yeah, the he was there, and Dan Mergliotta. I believe the ESPN Plus, it gives you great camera angles, and sometimes the mics tend to. I think for this one they slipped up on purpose just to let us hear Herb Dean, but
Yes, I
you
agree.
know Herb Dean told Dan Mergliotta, "Hey, if you felt at that moment you should have stopped the fight, you go with your instinct. You go with your instinct right there. I know you let the fight continue, but if you felt with your first instinct that you should have stopped the fight right there, then you stop the fight right there. You had the correct first instinct. You just let the fight continue, and now we're here, watching the tape. But always go with your first instinct. You were right there." And so with that, we have never seen that before because this is the first time ever where I feel The referee did let the contest continue, but he knew whatever decision was going to come of the contest, that was the wrong decision, and that the referee had to go back and correct it. And we've never seen a referee in any sport choose to do something like that.
That's true. You won't see that in team sports.
It never happens in team sports. We all know it's never going to happen in football.
I would say
Oh man,
football
and
especially.
basketball, man. Some people some people get away with flagrants and just move on. But
That's
yeah,
fair, yeah.
oh yeah, but yeah, the referees usually 9 times out of 10 they're just gonna say, they act like parents. They're right, and that's it. But that was the first time ever where we saw a referee decide, hey, I was wrong here for doing something. I need to call everyone. We need to have a conference. I need to know what the right procedure is. And if we can, I need to change the decision here because I feel like, this may impact something. And so kudos definitely to Dan Mergliata. If one day, hopefully, we can get him on the channel to discuss something because it's cool talking to fighters, and we'd love to even talk to another fan. Hopefully, have another fan join us one day,
Yeah.
and have a guest fan who's watched a whole bunch of fights. But having a referee is someone who's had seats better than ringside.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, because the referee has a different perspective of things that we don't know about, and it's cool, interesting to see how they know when to stop a fight, when to stop a fight, when not to stop a fight, and definitely get in mind of a referee, whether it be Dan Moriarty, or Dean, Big John, retired, still one of the best referee in the history of the sport. You know, Jason Herzog, guys like that. And Dan Moriarty is a good referee for the most part. And I got to give him credit for it. They basically ruining a no contest. After watching the replay and stuff. And I hope all commissions have this. I hope every commission they do this. Doesn't matter if they fight in Nevada, California, here in Florida, up in New York where you're at, Texas, etc. International. Hopefully they all do that. Where if something like this happens, they can go to the replay and check it out and see. Okay, because this is important because you don't want to give someone a loss when they don't deserve it, when it's not the correct call and it hurts their it hurts their pocketbooks, etc. And that's the worst thing, guy losing. We all hate when the wrong guy wins the fight. A guy gets bad judging. And last thing we want is a guy getting screwed over by by the I don't say the ref, but by a ref's mistake or something you didn't see. And that's just as bad as a bad decision. You know what I mean, right?
Oh yeah, most definitely. And before we move on to the next fight, I would just, like to propose this question to you and to the audience. Maybe for the chat to just chime in. Robert Parr, you can chime in. Let me know. CT, you can chime in too. Let me know you guys have this thought. This was asked on, Twitter. So I'm just, borrowing the question from someone else. They were able to do this for Kevin Holland due to a headbutt and him not being able to truly continue the fight with great with the great ability to do so, with the medical health to do so. Should they have done so with fights like Conor McGregor and Dustin Poirier, where a fighter sustains an injury like Conor did, or even Anderson Silva? Damn, his name just escapes me because he did it with Anderson Silva, and it
Wyman,
just happened to him.
Chris Wyman.
Chris Weidman. Do those things happen? And do you would you extend that rule to those fights as well? That's always a question. I didn't have the answer to right there, and I still don't have the answer to that. And I just that's just a question I'd like to ask, to you, Austin, and to the chat as well. I see that Robert Parr is asking us another question. Keep them coming, man. He said there's Bellator, UFC. I'm confused a bit. Johnny Walker did it. Are these different leagues or something?
Yeah,
in MMA sport? Yeah, most definitely. There's different leagues and different promotions for the MMA world. It's not just one, but we we currently see right now that the one gaining the most traffic is the UFC. You can kind of resemble the model to wrestling. You see that, you know, you have WWE, which is the big famous wrestling corporation, but then there's multiple other wrestling corporations that have great talent out there.
exactly. Yeah, that's a good. I mean, you described it perfectly. Yeah, I'm not gonna add any more to it. But to answer your question, I mean, what do you mean? Like, if Conor McGregor, if he gets injured, do you want to change it from a like I'm trying to understand. Like, we mentioned Conor
He
McGregor and a leg injury.
he breaks his leg via the leg injury,
Okay.
right? I mean,
Yes.
via
Yeah.
the kick. It goes awry.
Yeah.
He really can't continue the fight in good health because he can't
Right.
stand up.
Okay.
Do you deem that a loss on him, or do you deem that a no contest?
Oh no, that's a loss because it wasn't like it was accidental headbutt. It was like it was accidental legal move. He did a kick, which is legal. He broke his own leg.
I
That's a
mean, but
loss.
do you? But this is my thing. A lot of people don't check leg kicks with the intention of breaking someone's leg,
Right, but
but
same. It's
check
legal.
it's but it happens. Is what I'm saying. The same
Right.
way headbutts happen as well.
Right.
We were able to see that, you know, the headbutt. We stopped the fight here, but how do we, like, where does the rule extend itself and stop? Do we now, you know, start to look at headbutts where an athlete got his eye cut, and so he really can't see out of one eye, and that affected how the fight happened, but that was an accidental headbutt.
Yeah, I
Where
post.
you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
these things happen.
Yeah. No, I think actually, but actually, I post. Excuse me. Yeah, I think those things should definitely be looked at. Those two things in particular. Maybe it was unintentional groin strike that the ref missed, and then at least they think it's a liver shot, and the guy that will get victory. You can lower no context as accidental groin strike. I think those three things in particular should be reviewed. Leg kicks, getting someone, excuse me, someone getting a leg broke because a person checked it. Nah, because if you're checking a leg, you're trying to prevent you getting kicked, the damage. Sometimes it may happen where the guy gets leg broken. I mean, I think that should not be reviewed. It's not no. It should be you lost because you got your leg broken. It happens. This is MMA. It's a dangerous sport. Things get broken. But when it comes to groin strikes, eye pokes, and headbutts, they're accidental. Those should always be reviewed. Just those three things.
Did Poirier block the kick?
Yeah, yeah. Wasn't the thing his elbow like when Kanye did a kick, his elbow kind of like did this. I could have sworn I saw his elbow did this to
No, his
him.
elbow didn't do this. His elbow went parallel.
Really? I could have sworn his elbow went like this.
His elbow was parallel.
Right.
It just kind of, because Connor is long, where where the kick landed. And so,
Right.
like, this is my thing. Like, we've seen fights continue where a headbutt, you know, it starts a cut above the eye or near the eye area, and so a fighter is blind in one eye, and that changes the entire
Right.
complexion of the fight.
That should be
Do
reviewed.
you?
That yes, just that. Headbutts, or at least the cuts. Headbutts in general. Eye pokes and groin strikes. That's it. Just those four things. That's it. Everything else,
Okay,
no.
all right. So then, yeah, let's move on to the next fight.
Is this the yeah? Can't remember. Oh, Legal Price Alex Oliveira fight. This is the one
Yes.
fight. This is the one. Dang, I wanted to see this fight. I don't know why I didn't see this fight. I feel like an idiot for not watching this. These are two guys I was looking forward to fighting each other. You saw it. I mean,
Uh,
it delivered, right?
um, it went the full distance, and these guys were both powerful, but man, I said I it just, I don't know how else to say it. Alex Oliveira was not as active as I wanted him to be.
Really?
That's the best way I can put it. Alex Oliveira needed to be more active. If he was more active, he would have given himself a better chance at maybe edging out the decision. But he wasn't as active as he needed to be, and Nico Price essentially dominated based on activity. That's the best way I could put that this fight.
Fair enough. Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, 'cause I heard that it seemed like Alex got tired. Wait, no, that's not. No, no, I'm thinking of the next fight. The fight happened before that. The person who lost. But yeah, I really didn't get to. Like I said, I wish I would have saw it. But good job, Nico Price, getting the victory. I was, you're able to last. You guys all there got tired. I mean, the person who gets tired has a greater chance of losing. You get tired there, your any sport, your chances of succeeding are diminished greatly in any sports. But
Most definitely.
yeah, and then the fight before that was Christoph Joko beating Misha Serkinov in 29-20 in a split decision, 29-28. All three judges scorecards, one going to Misha, the other one going to Joko. And I this fight, I'm trying. I believe that this was the fight that Joko got tired in the third round. Not Joko, excuse me, Misha. I'm sorry, Misha. Misha is originally a light heavyweight. He's been light heavyweight most of his career, and then all of a sudden he decides to go down 185, and that's a big difference, 20-pound difference. And when guys cut a lot of weight, they tend to, especially if they're not used to, they get tired easier, especially if you have a bad weight cut.
Uh, I'd have to agree with you there because watching the fight, he did not look like he belonged in the weight class.
Right, and see, like, yeah, it's so weird they did this now. Because Misha's been around for a while. I forget his age, but he's been around for a minute. He's not exactly a young light heavyweight, and the guy who's like 6 months ago he fought at no yeah six yeah March he fought. That was his last fight, and which was like 6.5 months, 7 months ago now, and all of a sudden he's dropping down to 185. Usually when you cut down weight, you have to take a while to adjust to it, especially if you're older, where it's hard to lose weight. And I feel like he did, and I feel like that weight cut that is what caused him to get tired, and it's probably one of the reasons why Joko was able to win this fight.
Most definitely, it was, and truthfully, man, I don't know where Misha goes from here. With Christoph Joko, he this fight is I mean I will say you did beat an older opponent who has a name to him, but this guy is kind of out of the division, so maybe you have to fight some more people who are unranked currently or have some more spark to their name. Granted, you were on the main card, but this fight, I don't know, a lot of lateral moves this weekend.
I agree, a lot of lateral moves, definitely. The main event and this fight, and maybe unintentionally the co-main event, unintentionally, but
Yeah,
still. Oh, by the way, they're working to do a rematch with that fight, Dawkins and Holland, which makes sense considering what happened to run it back. But yeah, you
yeah.
mentioned. Go ahead.
My only issue with the rematch before we get back on the next fight is that they're doing it 30 days from now, and if Kevin Holland's coming off of a flash knockout, I don't know if that's the best amount of time he should, because he is gonna have
I
to
agree.
train. I don't know. I just don't know.
I agree. 30 days is a little too soon. Why not push it for December? The Derek Lewis card, Lewis and Dawkins. His brother Chris Dawkins. Maybe you have two brothers fighting the same card, and also enough time for Kevin to recover. And then I think that's making more sense. 30 days is a little too soon. I don't agree with that at all. I don't like that. Yeah, it's kind of weird. But so
Most
you met. Go ahead.
No, go ahead, go ahead.
You were mentioning Misha Serkinov. He is coming off. He has lost 3 of his last 4 fights. Two of his last 3 fights at light heavyweight before he went down to 185. So yeah, you mentioned Royce is leaving. I mean, he's old. He's guy's been around who hasn't won a lot recently. Now he drops down and then he loses. It's not exactly in a good position to put himself in. Although I find it weird that he beat Jimmy Crute, which is because Jimmy Crute was on a roll before the Anthony Smith fight where he had the injury. But but um but yeah, yeah, man, Misha Serkinov maybe didn't do himself any favors Saturday night. But
Yeah, I mean, the UFC is definitely going to give him one more chance, but he's kind of floating in dangerous waters right now. So I just want to leave it at that.
I agree. And we'll move, and we'll end it there. We'll go to the first fight of the main card, which is Alex Hernandez being Mike Breeden in first round for a KO, 4 minutes 20 seconds, 420. Whew, no, that was a nice KO. They both were trying to they're both laying some shots. They were trying to it was a striking matchup, but Alex Hernandez just got the better strikes, quicker, the more the better punches, and he wobbled him with a left, and then Brandon was going back. I followed him, and then I believe he threw a right that dropped in, or I forgot, right or left, cross. One of them he used the drop pin, and it was a great finish for Alex Hernandez. I mean, this is a guy who had been a guy who before a Cowboy fight was on the road, and the Cowboy Soaring fight 2 years ago, basically got his ass whipped. Let's just be honest, by Cowboy Cerrone, and it's been like a hit or miss to him. In this fight right here, he had a great statement, impressive knockout over Mike Breeden. Just what a impressive victory. What do you thought of this fight, Dan?
Oh, so vicious. And the way these both, I just want to credit his opponent as well. Credit Mike Breeden, because these guys, they didn't. You love a good fight. You love everyone loves a good fight where it's extended and both of these guys are swinging. Both of them have the intention, like, yo, all right, it doesn't end right. It doesn't end the next round. It ends right here. But really, both of these guys are swinging for the fences out of the gate. Neither of these guys had the intention, like, hey, this is going to be a 3-round fight. And Alexander Hernandez, like you said, in a moment where both of these guys decided we're gonna stand right here in the center of the octagon and we're just gonna duke it out. Alexander Hernandez got the better of him a couple of times, and Mike Breeden started backing up. And just when Mike Breeden started to think, he could get enough space to get range and just figure out what's going on, Alexander Hernandez just didn't stop. He just didn't stop and kept going right, left, and just ended it right there in the first round. Impressive KO, and that wasn't the only impressive KO of the night. I know that was the first card of the main card, the last fight that you know um, we're recapping of the main card, but that was not the only impressive KO of this night.
And since you mentioned it, what was the one since you're talking about it? What was the most impressive KO tonight?
To me personally, I mean, it it had to be. Oh man, I don't want to butcher his name. I want to say his name correct.
Is it
Douglas
Douglas?
Silva de Andrade. Douglas
Got it
Silva
right.
de Andrade. He, I, if there was, oh man, if there was a way to let the chat know this, his opponent, he goes for the left leg kick, lands it one time, he thinks he's good. All right, so now he's gonna go for the left body kick because he's going for a change of pace. Douglas, he's watching him. As soon as he goes for the left leg kick, Douglas throws an overhand, a counter left hook, I believe. He throws a counter left hook. Oh my God! His opponent, off of the leg kick, he levitates for a moment,
What?
drops on the ground. Douglas, just gets on the opportunity, finishes it via TKO, and then after that, he's flipping through the ring, flipping through the octagon, because deservedly so. Such an exciting TKO, exciting TKO. It was very impressive. Just
Wow.
the timing on it, it was so clean, so clean.
Yeah. Wow. Dang. The way you describe it, that he levitated before getting dropped. Like, she a bit for like a second, like a brief second, but still. I mean, It sounds it's the way you describe it. It sounds super vicious. The way you describe it.
It's one of those things where it isn't like he just dealt so much power that the guy just had to get knocked out. It was just the you ever seen like we've seen it a bunch of times, but it's rare in the fighting game. But when it happens, you go beautiful. Where it's either a leg kick, whether it's a leg kick or a kick to the head, something where it's thrown and it has the perfect marriage, the perfect combination of power, timing, and location. That's all you need. The technique is there. It's been executed flawlessly. We know that these fighters, these athletes, they train, they dedicate their time 100% of the time. But when it's that perfect marriage of power, timing, location, it mixes together. It's that beautiful gumbo, man. Like the chef said, it's that beautiful gumbo. It comes together delicious.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, yeah, something very impressive knockout. And if you get a chance to just go ahead and see it, because I haven't seen it, so I'm gonna watch it after this stream's over. But yeah, I guess for those of you who are watching this, you haven't seen it, go watch it.
Most
It's good.
definitely.
I do want to give a shout out to Jared Gooden. Jared Gordon, excuse me, not Gooden, Gordon, who's from Queens, New York, who won his fight against Joe Solicki, who's from New Jersey, South Jersey, 29-28, split decision victory. Shout out to him. Also, a big, a fight that kind of maybe could mean something down the road more than it does now was Casey O'Neill defeating Antonina Shevchenko via TKO in the second round. Because Casey O'Neill is number 12 going into this fight, and she beat the sister of the flyweight champion. And Casey O'Neill is very highly ranked. I think she's undefeated or has one loss. I forget. But I'll check right now.
No, she's undefeated. She climbed to 8-0.
Okay, good. Yeah, and that's very yeah. And wait a minute, hold on. We got a super chat for Robert Parr.
Oh man, Robert Parr. I, that's love, man.
You didn't
Thank
have to,
you
did
so
you?
much. You didn't have to. I know you're getting off right now, but thank you so much for supporting supporting the channel. You've been here since day one. Whenever we told you, man, and like we said, we're going through the prelims right now. Some of these fighters, if you could just write down their last name, remember their name, because the next time they come up, they're gonna have a great show. Casey O'Neill put on a great performance against Antonina Shevchenko, like you said, Austin. Jared Gordon, I didn't like. You said it was a split decision. I didn't see this where the decision was truly split. I felt like Jared Gordon took care of Joe Solecki handedly through and through in that fight. Joe Solecki did have his moments, but I felt like Jared Gordon was just the better fighter. And so, with that being said, he even called out Patty Pimblett. So that's a fight down the line that maybe we could see that would be interesting. If Patty agrees to that may be a very interesting fight. Uh, you know, you went through some of the fights. To me, the one fight that I felt like was it went under the radar, and if any, Robert Parr, I'd love to say I'd love to just recommend this fight to you. Watch this fight because it was very back and forth. Jamie Malarkey versus Devontae Smith. If you can, look that up because it looked like Devontae Smith had it all but wrapped up in the first round, but Jamie Malarkey came back and just stole the show and got TKO in the second round. So that was a very impressive fight. And the next fight date, you can catch us watching the Tyson Fury versus Deontay Wilder. Join us on Saturday, man. We're gonna be watching that. We're gonna have a watch along. Me, the Jedi, and Austin. Hopefully, you'll be there. But yeah, we're gonna be watching that boxing match, and also I believe a UFC event will be held earlier that day. So we
Yes.
may discuss that event and going into that boxing match. So join us there, man.
Right, yeah, yeah. This Saturday it's gonna be UFC fight at 4 o'clock Eastern time, so very early because on Saturday night 10 o'clock is gonna the Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder 10 p.m. Eastern time should say rather. It's gonna be Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury 3, the trilogy fight. Yeah, and he says it there, Robert Parr. Good, but yeah, this Saturday there's gonna be fights. So definitely,
Most definitely. I hope to see you there, Robert Parr. But like you said, we there's a fight coming up on Saturday. The prelims, I believe, start at 1:30, so that's gonna be very early. But this is we've been asking for it for a while. Me and the Jedi. It's gonna be a woman main event card. It's gonna be Mackenzie Dern versus Marina Rodriguez in the flyweight division. Austin, you tell me, man. How do you see this going down? What do you see? What are the strengths and weaknesses of each fighter? How do you see this going down, man?
okay, well, this is very interesting because this is a big fun strawweight division considering they're both top six. You know, Mackenzie Dern's number 4, and Marina Rodriguez, since Brazil it pronounced RH as I said it. Rodriguez. Anyway, it's is 6. And Mackenzie Dern, we know what's her game, jiu-jitsu. I mean, that woman is dangerous on the ground. If you get a ground game of her, you're in trouble. I don't care who you are as a woman. You could be she gets in the ground, you're screwed. She's too good. I've seen it so many times with her, even against decent grapplers where she'll go in and get takes good grapplers and she just submits them and just beats them up. Mackenzie, I mean, she's no joke. Despite her accent, I mean that's the joke, but that's another story. That's another story for another day. You know what I'm talking. Dan knows what I'm talking about. Everyone in Paul's MMA knows what I'm talking about. That. But yeah, I mean, she's a great fighter. I mean, it's only ever since she became a mom, she's became, I want to say better fighter if that makes sense. Like she had a loss to Amanda Hebos, and then she got pregnant afterwards, or she fought one, then got pregnant, then came back. But since that loss, she's 4-0, and she looks like a better fighter ever since she became a mom. And this is a big time fight for her because this is her first main event, and let's not forget a month later, Master Garden, the strawweight championships on the line with Weili Zhang versus Rose Namajunas, and this is
Oh,
opportunity.
most definitely.
It's an opportunity for her and Marina Rodriguez to go out there and to go out there and may have a great performance and possibly set themselves up, but in position. Well, maybe position to fight Cara Esparza for a number 1 contender fight, considering Cara Esparza deserves a title fight more than anybody. So, but also Marina Rodriguez, she is 14 1 and 2 draws. She has most of her fights are knockouts and TKOs, and with 6 of them, she does have 7 decisions. And Marina Rodriguez, she's not exactly a girl. She's a girl I feel like has been underestimated in recent fights. I mean, when she fought Amanda Hebos earlier in the year, everyone thought this was Amanda Hebos, come out party. Since she did last time, they were not big out in pay per view. But she's the real dad and style Amanda Hebos, and she's been on a roll herself. I believe I'm trying to remember her win. I forget her win streak. I think it's like 5 or 6 since her last loss to no 3 losses because she lost to Cara Esparza by split decision. So if she wins here, she'd probably get revenge. But yeah, it's an excellent fight. I always say the women's strike division is the best women's division in MMA, UFC and all. It's not even close to me. All these girls bring it. They're exciting. A lot of them are exciting. The gap is not like the gap between the champion and competitors is not like this. It's more like this, where you believe the challenger can beat the champion. I mean, that's what I like about this women's strike division. And it's exciting to see, can Marina Rodriguez, finish over strikes or maybe win by decision, avoid getting submitted, or Mackenzie Dern's grappling be too much for her, and once the fight goes on the ground, she's in a lot of trouble. So what do you think of this fight, Dan?
Um, oh man, this is Mackenzie Dern's fight to lose.
Yeah, you're
And what
right.
I mean when I say that is I feel like she has to dictate the pace completely. Are you grappling early or are you saving that for later? But you are grappling. Do not shy away from it. And if you are grappling early, recognize what you're doing, because if you're grappling early, you are about to empty the gas tank, and if the fight goes on for long and it goes to decision, you're probably handing the fight to Marina. Oh man, this is
And I'm trying to think. I think Mackenzie might be favorite at the moment. I could be wrong. I think she is. I think she probably is the favorite, despite what Marina Rodriguez has been doing
no,
lately.
she is a slight favorite.
Okay,
She's a slight favorite, minus 160 to Marina's plus 130, but
it's a
it
small favorite.
it's small favorite, slight favorite. Um, this is the Michael Chiesa approach, man. That's the way I see it.
Hmm.
And if are you going to try and exhaust all the defense Marina has? Are you going to really try and test all that defense? Or are you comfortable with your stand-up game enough to go, okay, this is a 5-round fight. I'm not really gonna grapple you when we get too sweaty. I'm really gonna let this happen around the third round. How are you gonna play this? It's all about Mackenzie. Mackenzie Dern has to dictate the pace of the fight, and that's the way I can analyze this fight. That it's Mackenzie Dern's fight to lose, and when I say that, she has, what I mean is, this is her fight where she has to dictate the pace completely.
Right. Yes. Yeah, you're right. I definitely agree with that. I think she has to, especially someone like Marina, who's very dangerous and got can finish girls, but also has has be, has is coming off victory over Amanda Yos and actually Michelle Watson. I forgot she fought earlier this year against Michelle Watson flyweight, and she basically did what she basically controlled the fight and beat Michelle very convincingly. So yeah, I mean, if you don't dictate the pace and how this fight goes, you might be in trouble. Yeah, I mean, no, you probably will be in trouble against Marina, who's who who's no slouch. I mean, she might be one of the more underrated female fighters when you think about it. Marina Rodriguez, when you think in the UFC, because I can't. Yeah, she probably is, in my opinion. So yeah, I mean, this is a big moment for her. Her second main event, and she goes to beat Mackenzie Dern after beat Shil Watson. Her stock goes up dramatically. More people probably give her respect. Not only that, but also she has a shot to maybe get a rematch against Carla Esparza and avenge that loss. And not only that, it might be a title eliminator, because who knows what happens with Weili Zhang and Rose Namajunas next month. We don't know if it'll be a war. Maybe they might win, but then they may be out for a while because of an injury or whatever. So so yeah, so we'll see with that. Who wins
Most
this?
definitely, this seems like a possible. This is definitely a road to number one contendership.
Yeah, definitely. I do agree with you there. And it'll be interesting to see if there's a rematch with Marina and Carla, because Carla won by split decision, or we get not Marina, Mackenzie and Carla, because they're the great jiu-jitsu grappler versus the very good wrestler Carla Esparza. But yeah, like I said, Saturday we'll find out. We'll find out who wins. And
Most definitely.
yeah, and the co-main event is Randy Brown versus Jared Gooden. I almost said Gordon, because the last names are similar. That's same first names. And what do you think of this fight? Because I've seen Randy Brown fight before, and Randy Brown's a very good, solid welterweight. So is Jared Glidden. They're both like top 20, top 25 rank. If it was that ranking, they'd probably be in there. UFC welterweight, good fighters, but not ranked. Although maybe a big performance can get them a step closer to ranking.
Yeah, but also there is a oh man, you know what? I'll save that comment for another time. But
Okay.
this is gonna be fireworks.
Okay.
This is
Yeah.
gonna be fireworks to me. I honestly feel like this is one of these fights where it may not escape. This may not go the distance.
Yeah, I can see that because Randy. Yeah. Yes. I definitely. Now I think about it, yeah, you're all right. because they both tend to get finishes, both of them. And oh, excuse me, I'm sorry, except for the burp there. But yeah, they both tend to finish a lot of their fights, their victories. So yeah, now I think about you are right. You're right. So yeah, hopefully it's fireworks. Hopefully delivers, which I expected to. Maybe it might be fight tonight. Who knows? We shall see. Then you got an important fight in the flyweight division between Tim Elliott and Matis Nikolai, not Nikolai, but Nikolou. Who they're both top 10, I believe top 10 flyweight. So big fight for the flyweight division. So once
Nah, Mathis Niccolo, I believe he's number 15.
15, okay, my bad. Number
No, it's fine.
15.
It's fine. Yeah.
Wait, I'm check. Wait a minute, hang on. I'm checking the UFC rankings right now. Nikolou is 11. Tim Elliott's
He's
number
11.
9.
Okay.
Yeah,
All
so
right.
yeah, they're both in the top 11. Top 11, they're top 10. Big fight for this fight division. That's getting very more interesting, especially recent times. Both guys, victory here propels them one step closer to that title fight, maybe 2 fights away or one fight, a great performance. And, it's great to have new blood out there because the fight division seems like there's a group of guys who are at the top, which is Moreno, Figueiredo, Pantoja, and Askarov. I think it's those 4 guys and everyone else. And
Yeah,
go ahead.
I agree with you there. What I'd like to say is this is a fight that it feels like these guys have to separate themselves out of the pack. You make a you know, you make the way this fight goes, man. You if you put on such a performance that you leave an impression, you may start to differentiate yourself to where it may feel like, hey, your ranking doesn't matter here. They just need to put you in front of the right opponent, and great things will happen for you.
Yeah, exactly. Considering, especially in the flight division, where a lot, there are finishes, but not often. Especially you want to stand up flyweight, you gotta have finishes. Especially if you're not those 4 guys that I mentioned. That would definitely, maybe stand up the pack, and then maybe people talk about them. Maybe you can fight one of those guys and get one step closer to fighting for the world title. But yeah, another fight I am kind of interested in seeing is the opening fight of this card, which is Phil Hawes versus Jerome Nguyen. The reason why I'm interested because Jerome Nguyen is one of Daniel Cormier's good friends, and a great wrestler too. I forget. I know he has a great wrestling background. I know he helps train wrestling sometimes with the AKA guys. If you ever watch those videos with Habib and in AKA, he's always interacting with them, talking to DC, talking stuff, being funny. And Deron Wynn out it's interesting because Deron Wynn is very short for this division. I mean, very short. I mean, he's like 5'7" or 5'8", 185, which is just not. You usually don't see those guys flying 185. If you get, usually they're like 5'11", 5'10", 6 feet, 6'1", like 6'4", like Israel Adesanya, the champion. And Phil Hawes, who's coming in this fight, winner of 3, 4, 5, 7 in a row with 7 knockouts
Yep.
too. That's the thing. Phil Hawes is on a roll, and you're Deron Wynn has to fight a guy who he actually beat Cal Dawkins earlier this year.
Yes. Yes, he did. And the way Phil Hawes looks like a very good striker. So I don't know. This
To the
is going to
right,
be classic striker versus wrestling, man. How do you see this going?
see, it's the thing is, can Deron Wynn use his wrestling because his wrestling is very good. I mean, you talk to people who know the sport very well, at AKA and DC. He has high level wrestling. He's competed a lot of wrestling tournaments. I know he had a great good wrestling career. If I'm mistaken. So I'm trying to remember. I think he was NCAA champion. No, not NCAA champion, but like did well in NCAA though. But if he can get the takedown, I mean, I think he should win. But who knows if But I think Phil Hawes, the power's there. He's got knockout power, and he's a lot taller than him. He might be bigger than him too. So if you're a very bigger guy, he's gonna have more power than a smaller guy. Although Dewan Win is very thick, but still, he's very but still the power's there for for Phil Hawes. If he lands one shot, you could maybe change the whole complexion of the fight, especially a power shot.
Yeah, but then I'm also seeing that right now, Phil Hawes 77 reach distance, 77.5 inches, and I believe Deron Nguyen only has 70. So this is gonna be the shorter man trying to bop and weave, do a Mike Tyson impression to try and get inside, because he can't just bull rush a guy like him.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. You can't. He's gonna fight smart. I wonder if DC's actually calling this fight, considering that's his good friend, and maybe that's his good friend, and they do train together. I wonder if DC's gonna be his corner or calling the fights. I know Coach Javier Mendez won't be there because he's over in Dagestan right now with those guys getting Usman right for his fight, Islam, these other guys for this upcoming fights. So it'll be interesting to see, what the game plan is. Does he go in? How does he get a takedown? How's he, does he try to do DC dirty boxing that made DC so successful? Considering he was small for light heavyweight and heavyweight, but his dirty boxing game was on point. Especially with the Daniel Cormier fight.
Oh yeah, he's gonna have to need a lot of that because, it's not like Phil Hawes is Phil Hawes isn't a slouch in his wrestling either.
Right.
I believe he's gonna have some defense. So this is, oh man, this is gonna come down to if Deron Nguyen is well blended enough, if he's gotten his striking game, good enough, and he's confident enough to where he can do some things in the strike game, he may be able to snatch a victory from Phil Hawes' hands.
Definitely. We'll see what happens Saturday night, like I said. And before we move on, is there anything in the prelims that interests you?
I'm gonna look through the prelims right now. Mm, Well, there isn't a name currently that is, popping up to me that I remember currently, but it's not gonna stop me from watching the prelims.
Gotcha. Yeah, yeah,
Like I
gotcha.
said, not like I said with the last with the card that just passed, Douglas Silva de Andrade, knockout of the night, and even oh man, like even what's his name again?
Well,
Not Jamie Malarkey,
Devon Smith? Devontae Smith.
not Devon Smith. But
Oh,
even Alexander Hernandez, that was the first fight of the
okay.
main card. But like that guy, he came from the prelims. That's how he got to the first fight of the main card and was able to provide a show that hopefully moves him up to the next spot of the card. So, ladies and gentlemen, just keep an eye out for the preliminary fights. Those are where your fight of the nights are coming from. Those are where those meme worthy knockouts are coming from. Trust and believe that's where it's coming from, not from the main card. It's coming from the preliminaries.
Okay. On that note, we'll leave it there. Our MMA portion of this video is over. However, we do got some big boxing matchup coming up. But before we do that, Dan said last week his opinion on Anthony Joshua. We have not talked about a couple weeks ago Anthony Joshua losing his heavyweight title to Usyk. There are things Dan wanted to say about Anthony Joshua. So I'll let you take it from here, Chef Dan. You've been waiting for it, so I'll let you speak.
I When I was watching Anthony Joshua's fight, for some odd reason, right? The first while I was watching the fight, I was like, why does it feel like an outboxing heavyweight couldn't succeed? That was my first thought, right? And then I had to sit back and mull on it for a while. I'm like, this that doesn't sound right because there's greats. Even Muhammad Ali was a great outboxing heavyweight. He wasn't a guy that was dirty boxing, doing all that. He was a guy that was kept keeping on the outside, known for just tagging you up, keeping on the outside. He didn't want to exchange like that, and he's the GOAT. So an outboxing heavyweight can exist. Those guys, the genetics are changing more and more. There are more hybrid athletes that are showing the ability to do different things. So I said, It isn't that. And I'm really watching the fight and I'm going, what is it about Anthony Joshua that's bothering me? And I got to the crux of it. I knew he was going to fight. He was going to lose this fight against Yuschek. He didn't look prepared for this fight against Yuschek. And it even then, like the way he went about preparing for this fight, it felt like it was the wrong preparation. It feels like Anthony Joshua needs to get a fight first with his opponent before he can, even get a gauge for him, and then he'll be ready for the rematch. And so what that tells me is he to me is he's the most inconsistent champion I've ever seen when it comes to combat sports. And I don't know, he has great genetics. He has great power, but he doesn't lean into it that often. It felt like that entire fight, he wasn't delivering the power shots when he needed to. And even by the time he got to the point where he needed to, Yuschek was just reading him so well that it didn't matter. Like, he's so inconsistent. And I don't know how you're a champion and you're inconsistent, but that's what he is. He's inconsistent. And it almost felt like a relief that he lost that championship to me. And I don't want to say that to him, but I don't want to say that about him. But within the same note, it's like, you're so inconsistent. I can see why every single challenger feels like, they're licking their chops just to get at you. Like every single challenger that has ever talked about Anthony Joshua, whether it's been another champion trying to unify those championships, or it is just a challenger that gets them, it's like, yo, they feel like it's a meal for them, a plate for them, because you are inconsistent. You don't know what you're gonna get with Anthony Joshua, and so that's why I'm not a fan of him.
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, I've noticed that a lot of guys really feel like they can beat him. Like Wilder really wanted that for obvious reasons, to unify, but also Fury. I mean, Fury really has been going after Joshua. So yeah, I can see what you mean about fighters feel like their chops against him boxers because they think they can get him. Especially after the Andrew Ruiz loss. Oh, he did avenge it, but still, I mean, maybe they think, oh, I can get this guy now. So I mean, so you basically what do you mean by inconsistent? I mean, he has great performances, but doesn't have great performances the next fight type of deal. Is that what you mean? That's what you mean by it, right?
I wish I could say he has great performances, but then he doesn't follow up with them. But he's inconsistent round to round.
Ah, gotcha.
He's very inconsistent round to round. I During that Yuschek fight, there was a certain point where, I've never seen a boxer do this, but he switched from being the outboxer one round. Then the next round, he said, he just decided, you know what, I'm gonna try and headhunt this guy and try and walk him down and try and use my power, which was working for a while. But then the next round, he decided, hey, I'm gonna outbox, and then I've never seen that with the fighter, and maybe, oh man, I don't know. I just don't know what to say. He's so inconsistent. He makes my thoughts inconsistent. So maybe we can just get off him with that. We can just
Okay,
stop talking about him with that.
okay. We yeah. Let's talk about another British fighter that you probably enjoy more, who's fighting this weekend in Tyson Fury versus Deontay Wilder for the WBC heavyweight title and linear heavyweight style, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, this is a trilogy fight, the third fight of their series. They fought December 2018. That was a draw. One of the two knockdowns. Although a lot of people, including me, who saw that fight, thought Fury won. And then last year, February, before the whole lockdowns and all that stuff began, you had these two fight again, and Fury won seventh round by Wilder's corner through the towel, which was which Wilder was upset, fired Mark Breland during that after that fight. And now we have the trilogy fight. Originally, it was supposed to be not Wilder, Fury and Joshua, if I'm mistaken. They already signed the deal, but then the judge, Robert Ferrer, said, no, you have to fight Fury, you have to fight Wilder again. And now we're getting this fight. And what are your thoughts about this fight after seeing the first two, after over a year and a half of since the last fight?
I know you said I probably enjoyed Tyson Fury. I actually
More than
enjoyed
him.
Deontay Wilder more.
I meant to say more than Joshua. That's what I meant to say. My bad.
Oh no, over Joshua, yeah, Tyson Fury over Joshua completely. And granted that fight was signed to happen, but I knew it wasn't gonna happen. I knew Tyson Fury versus Anthony Joshua wasn't gonna happen, primarily because you know with boxing, the champion does have a rematch clause, and if anything, the all the questions weren't answered with the second fight.
You think so?
I understand, some people probably felt like Tyson Fury won the first fight, even though it ended in a draw.
Me.
To me, it Deontay Wilder got two knockdowns.
That's true. But I didn't
The
think
way I, oh, go ahead.
yeah, but I feel like those two knockdowns, besides that, he really did nothing in that fight. Fury just boxed in the other rounds. Now, granted, it was the one knockdown where Fury was like, it looked like he was done in the 12th round and got up like The Undertaker and, and then continue on. I mean, yeah, that was definitely a big shot. But I feel like besides those two knockdowns, I think Wilder didn't do anything. That's why I thought he lost the first fight. But go ahead, Dan.
No, I can see your point of view there, but watching Deontay Wilder a lot, I've realized that the fighter he is, man, like oh man, I don't want to liken. You know what? I can do this.
Right?
Here's a perfect example.
All right.
Nick and Nate Diaz, the way they fight their fights, if you were to look at it in a totality, like if they don't finish via ground and pound and they went to a decision, it would be tough to decide that fight, because a lot of the time the way they spend their fights is they're gonna walk away, then they're gonna stop and then engage with you. But then a lot of the time they're just walking away, slipping, dodging punches, things of that nature, right?
Right.
Okay. The opposite effect is with Deontay Wilder. He's not sticking out his jab a whole bunch. He is sticking it out to feel it every now and then, but he's not about a whole bunch of activity. Reason being is because he knows what his right hand can do. It's evident. Like the evidence is right there in the record. And so with that, like I can understand his style of fighting and what he's going to bring to the ring. With that being said, I don't fault him for the amount of activity.
You have the great race,
He,
as Tay Atlas says. I think
you said
yeah.
what?
It's the great eraser that Tay Atlas mentions that you
It
said
he
that
has the great eraser, exactly.
takes
That just,
one.
yep, it just takes one. And whenever even if he, let's say throughout a fight, he doesn't knock an opponent down, he doesn't knock an opponent out, right?
Right.
But he gets a few knockdowns. That shows damage. It even leads back to, we can draw the comparison to the MVP Lima the MVP Lima fight too.
Right.
The knockdown showed damage. Damage is being done.
Right.
And so with that being said, it's like I can't take that away from him. Even if it's one or two shots, he's putting him down. Even when he's not putting him down, you can see it. Fury can't cleanly take those shots. He knows, hey, this is a difference. I can't, like, all this power is a difference. And so with that being said, I don't know how this third fight goes. If Deontay Wilder, decides I'm going to stick the jab out more, I'm going to be more of a, conventional boxer, and he doesn't even have to do a lot. This is the crazy part about it. Knowing that he has that power, You can liken it to Francis Ngannou. Francis
Yeah, I'll say
Ngannou
that.
doesn't have to learn a rear naked choke.
Nope.
He just has to learn how to stuff a takedown. He just has to learn when he's on his back the perfect technique, or not the perfect, but the proper techniques of how to get out of that situation. Just give himself a fighting chance. That's all you really ever need. There is no perfect defense in the fight game. What you really want is touch and not get touched. But the guy across from you, he's trained, if not more, just as much as you. His genetics are, if not better than yours, they're just as good as yours. There are different factors that lead into the fight game, which is why it is as beautiful as it is. And so, with that being said, all Deontay Wilder has to do, for me, the way I analyze this fight, Tyson Fury is coming in the champ. He can continue doing what he's doing. He even stated that he's coming in 20 pounds, heavier,
I'm about to
because
say
he
that.
plans to continue the plan of just leaning on Deontay Wilder, tiring him out, making him carry that weight. For me personally, all Deontay Wilder has to do is consistently keep the jab out and take angles. You take more angles. Now the right hand, it comes from an angle where he doesn't know where he's coming from. And when I say angles, I mean the footwork. You have to sometimes it's with the fight game, sometimes it's just as important as taking a step to the side, circling. Let me instead, let me mess with your range a little. Let me step closer in, do a little dirty boxing, and then while you're backing up, then I'm gonna unleash the full range. These are tactics that I know he has because you've been fighting for that long. It's there. And so what I want to see out of Deontay Wilder, regardless of the outcome, is, does he evolve as a fighter in that aspect? If he does, then he gives himself a fighting chance. From there, whether he wins or loses, I don't know. We can discuss it after the fight. But if he does that, that gives himself a fighting chance. If not, and he just happens to land a shot that, ends Fury's night, then hey, Irene sang, or I'm sorry, Irene said good night. The fat lady sang
Yeah.
all the sayings. But that's my take on it. Austin, what do you see?
I see Deontay Wilder, who I think he's got power, but doesn't know how to box. Doesn't know how to get into the point where he can, land it. He's got power. Problem is, we have someone Tyson Fury so skilled, who knows good head movement, so knows how knows it can even close the distance and get so close to you that you can't hit him with your full power because he's just gonna be doing this when he's closer. That's a bad demonstration of guy getting close and someone just missing punches. But you get my point. And
Yeah.
like you're right, and like I feel like Wilder has it, but I don't maybe, but I don't think so because Wilder is not a very technical boxer. Never, I mean he's world champion. He's a success, great racer. Obviously he has that, probably the best maybe in boxing history. Debatable, but he might have it. The best right hand boxing history, but I think Fury's just too skilled in terms of like movement, defense. Well, also going out there and he's smart to know, hey, I'm 6'9", I'm big. I'm just gonna go out there and just lean on him, give him tired. Because Deontay is not like he's 6'7", but he's not like a big heavyweight. He's like 215 or something, maybe 220. And Fury knows that hey, he's so skinny. If I can just lean on him, I can make him tired. If he's tired, I can just pick him apart, just you know, like this, boom, 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 and then just knock him out. They tried to demonstrate punches, but like not good
No,
at.
I understand he's gonna stick to dirty boxing, keep the short punches from here and there. Um,
But I think Fury's the most skilled boxer he's probably Wilder's ever fought. If you really think about it, I mean, Ortiz was good, but Ortiz maybe I think Fury's just better than Ortiz. That boxer. I mean, I think they fought. Me personally, I could be wrong. I think Fury will destroy Ortiz. But yeah, I think the problem is Wilder is, and plus you're getting Mark Breland, who's a former world champion himself, great boxer in his own right, in your corner because he's doing the title to save your life. I mean, That guy's a lot of knowledge. He's been there. He's been champion. He's been Olympic gold medalist. He can teach you things. You getting rid of him, I don't think it's the best idea either. And that hurts Wilder.
Yeah, it did, but like I said, coming out of the news coming out of Wilder's camp, which is great news, because all the other things weren't great, but he did get rid of the trainer, but the new trainer told him that he had to look at him in his face, and Wilder had to convince the trainer to let him. He had to convince the trainer that Wilder knew that what happened in that ring wasn't that, oh, Fury's gloves were loaded or that you were tired from the costume. No, he outboxed you and beat you. It was a beating. And so I think if you have a fighter who's, a world champion who's humbling himself a little, like I said, man, Tyson Fury has more skill than him. But when guys have the power that Deontay Wilder and Francis Ngannou has, you don't need all the skill in the world. And as you come up in the ranks and as you face more and more skilled guys who find ways to negate your power, you come to realize like, hey, you need a little bit more skill. But man, when you still have that great power, when your power isn't diminishing anytime soon, you really don't need to add a lot of skills. You just need to give him one or two new looks, something to throw him off kilter, make him go, hey, I've never seen that before. Then bam, go right back to what you know. You never really try and leave what you know, because that's what got you there in the first place. So I wouldn't want, as much as said, Wilder, Fury is the more skilled fighter, and you would want Wilder coming in more skilled. I don't want him coming in so skilled that he starts to think, hey, is my footwork correct? Am I jabbing, this, that, whatever, all that? No, I don't want him doing that. I just want him being conscious of like, hey, I'm a boxer first and foremost. I'm not a guy who's just throwing power shots to try and end it all one night. I know I have that in my tank, but let me manage the fight first. Let me see where I can get mine, and then I'll get mine. Be a predator. Be patient and know when to strike.
Gotcha. Yeah. Yeah. For the most. Yeah. I can see that, but I just don't think he has the ability to do it now. I'm just gonna be honest with you. I just don't.
I mean, he's always had it. Because the power, it's not like he was always coming in there swinging and gassing himself.
No, he
He
doesn't
was
guess
always
himself,
picking in
but
shots.
right.
Like
But
Deontay Wilder was a guy who always picked the shots. He always knew, like, he always was going to swing with his weight behind that right hand. It just had to be when he had to be opportunistic. But now coming in against a guy in Tyson Fury, you maybe have to empty that gas tank a little on some jabs here and there, and maybe you have to feint the right a little more. But I don't think that's so difficult that he's changing his fighting style. I think that's the natural progression of Deontay Wilder if he wants to be who he says he wants to be. If you want to be that great fighter that you say you are, if you want the record to lend to the great, fight, and if you want to continue the legacy that you've already built for yourself, this is the natural progression you have to take. Because after Tyson Fury, man, who else do you have to fight? Who do you feel is as skilled as him and gonna do as much as he does?
not many guys. Not many guys. Not skilled. I mean, yeah, but even then, I still don't think you gotta be able to know how boxing. Be able. If he was gonna do things to counter. His power get out the way. You gotta be able to match the skill set. Not entirely, but I just don't know. I just don't think he got it, and I really don't. I don't. I know people say, well, Fury's heavier, maybe he's slower, maybe Wilder can catch him there. But we saw Fury the last fight. He didn't, he wasn't, doing Tyson Fury, dodging, moving, and footwork. He just got in and just tagged him. And now he's heavier too. I mean, I don't think that. I really don't. Yeah, I think that's. I think that's gonna, hurt Wilder. Can Wilder handle that? He got. I mean, I think Thiago said best. the bully that Wilder was the bully for most of his boxing career. Then the bully got stood up to. Now we got seeking the bully, stand up himself and be able to deal with pushback because we saw he failed last time.
Okay, so then we'll see when the fight comes along. You have your opinion, I have mine, but that's the beauty of this program.
But
We're
but,
just
but
have a simple.
by the way, my dad agrees with me. He basically believes that I think too many people when it comes to Fury, my dad was saying people underestimate him because of his antics, because of who he is, how he shows, his personality and stuff. And you forget he's such a great boxer. He has so many skills that he feels like something that draws people in other fellow fighters, away from doing, it hurts fighters going against Fury. That's what my dad told me, and that's why he believes Fury's gonna win this fight as well.
Okay. I'm not very confident about my pick now because you guys, when it comes to the heavyweights, you guys know your stuff. I'm over right now.
Right.
Hopefully, Deontay Wilder can save me, man. But uh, everyone, please join us Saturday night when we do the watch along for the Tyson Fury Deontay Wilder Part 3. Me, the Bronx Jedi, and Austin will be live. We'll be live Saturday night watching that fight. We'll be giving you our commentary and our live reaction. So hopefully everyone there can join us. I'm Heel. Hopefully you join us there. Robert Parr said he's going to be there. It's going to be a lovely event. Hopefully everyone joins us, man.
Yeah, definitely. I apologize. I'm Hugh. I know you said this, 20 minutes ago. We couldn't, I forgot to mention you. Shout out to you. I'm Hugh. He also writes that you will see Bruce Lee in the UFC Octagon. He meant. Yeah, definitely. Bruce Lee would definitely it'd be interesting to see considering he was, a guy who liked to practice multiple martial arts, and back then that was rare. Guys didn't really mix martial arts back then. So definitely, I understand your point. I am heel. Shout out to you. But yeah, Saturday night we're Dan and Dan and most likely. Oh, excuse me. Sorry, apologize for the burp. And me are going to be doing the live stream, possibly, for Wilder Fury 3, and it'll be an interesting fight. Big time heavyweight boxing fight. These are always special. We can agree. Heavyweight boxing title fights there's a difference between all divisions. Yeah, you have Canelo, you got Crawford and Spence and all them guys, but heavyweight boxing at its peak and championship, it just feels right. You know what I mean? Like the heavyweight division carries boxing. We can agree there. It's the most important
Oh
division in
yeah,
boxing.
they were like heavyweight division is always going to give you fireworks and shows, and we even see that in the UFC. It's coming along with Francis Ngannou and Cyril Gane being booked. We are going to discuss that at a later time, but yeah, I can't wait to see everyone join us Saturday to watch our live reactions.
Yes, thank you. Yes, I agree with Dan there. Sorry for stuttering there, but yeah. Anyway, I think we'll end it here. Is there anything else you want to mention, Dan, or?
Um, I would just like to, maybe next time. Well, the next show, I'd like to ask you, the chat. We just saw Alexander Volkanovski get in the ring, and he was very impressive. And all the man asked for, and he's a champion. Champions, they don't ask for much. All the man asked for is more activity. And so there's a proposition. Who would you like to see? And this is something I'd love for the chat and everyone to kind of answer us. Maybe BX could even put it in put it to a vote for the community to answer. But who would you guys like to see as Alexander Volkanovski's next opponent? Would you guys like to rather him see Giga Chikadze, who's very impressive in his last outing against Edson Barbosa?
Yep.
Would you like to see him against the winner of Yair Rodriguez versus Max Holloway? Because both of these guys they're viable for number one contendership. Yair Rodriguez, very impressive. And Max Holloway, he has a claim that, everyone claims that he technically never lost the championship. He looked like the winner through and through in both fights against Alexander Volkanovski. Or someone who's put their hat in the ring currently. He's even re-entered the USADA testing pool. Henry Cejudo. Triple C, Cringe King. He wants to be champ, champ, champ. He wants to do
C4.
something that's never been done.
Yeah, 3 division champion. It'd be historic, and he's Olympic gold medalist. If he wants to try to be C4 now, be Olympic gold medalist, Olympic champion, flyweight, bantamweight champion, now featherweight champion. So it could be him, like I said.
It could be him. This is an opportunity where we see someone vying for GOAT status. Someone who basically was so dominant across 2 divisions that he had to go to a third one, and he may possibly end up, you know, it looks like such he's always looked like someone who was so big for the 2 divisions that he was in. If he goes into that third division and wins it convincingly against Alexander Volkanovski, who's currently just going through the division. Granted, he has some great fights against Max Holloway, who we consider it's all a big.
I thought he won the second fight, Holloway. I still see Holloway as the champ. I feel it's the guy who took his belt back. That's just me.
That's your opinion, but I'd love to hear the chat. I'd love to hear our viewers' opinion on that. Who would you guys like to see? The choices between Giga Chikadze, who's recently had a meeting with Dana White, let Dana White know what he wants. The winner between Yair Rodriguez and Max Holloway, or Henry Cejudo, who relatively, when a guy relinquishes the championship and he goes up a weight class, his next fight is the champion. Yep. All three have a claim to fame for that championship. We are the people. We decide the next fight. We let Dana White know who we want to see the most, who we plan to spend our money to see. So let us know in the chat and throughout the week. Let us know who you would like to see fight Alexander Volkanovski. And with that being said, that's my last thought for the night. Good night, everyone. Austin, I'll kick it off to you.
Yeah, I got nothing else to add. I mean, I already know my answer. I think you might have guessed it based on what I just said, Max Holloway. But yeah, personally, it's just me. But we'll see. Holloway's got to get the Yair, which I think he will do. Personally, I think he's gonna beat up Yair. Personally, we'll see. But yeah, I see Holloway Volkanovski 3, but I'm not against Cejudo either. And I'll just leave it there. Anyway, thank you guys for watching us. Where you watch us live, and live would be, or you watch this afterwards. We appreciate you guys checking us out, watching us, and thank you guys. And we'll see you next week.
And you will see us Saturday.
My bad.
You're gonna see us this Saturday. Tyson Fury versus Deontay Wilder, Part 3. We're live. Please join us this Saturday. Me, the Bronx Jedi, and Austin, and we might have a special guest. Please join us this Saturday.
Yes. Okay. Yes, Saturday. Yes. My bad. My apologies. This Saturday. We'll see you guys then. Until then, stay safe and have a good night, y'all.
Have a good night. Peace.
Peace.